Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First up, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, seems to think it's fine to dox ICE agents because they aren't from LA. We've got the video. So she won't clear out the homeless encampments, but she will clear out your family's address if you work for ICE. Then, a UK primary school used Elliot Page as an example of healthy masculinity. For those of you who don't know, Elliot Page a few years ago identified as a woman, now identifies as a man. If that's the new standard, I'm surprised they didn't just throw in Jimmy Kimmel and call it a day. Next, we've learned that CBS was losing up to $50 million a year on Stephen Colbert's Late Show. The only thing harder to find than a Colbert advertiser was a punchline in his monologue. And finally, Ellen DeGeneres confirms that she left the United States because of President Trump. That's not an indictment of Trump, that's an endorsement. She told the BBC because apparently no one in America cared. And then we go to the comment section. We had a bunch of comments on the video we did about Stephen Colbert being canceled, and a lot of people were asking, why are they waiting until May of 2026 to take him off of the air? So we look at that question. The other question that we are looking at is on the high-speed rail project. The federal government had just canceled that, but there was I think $7 billion that had been spent. A lot of people asked, what happened to that $7 billion? What did Newsom do with it? So we will look at that too. Okay, let's dive in. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says that doxing ICE agents is okay because they're not from LA. Apparently, the only people who get privacy on LA are cartel members and the guys stealing catalytic converters.
His agents, some of them fear that their families will be retaliated against, and that's why they are covering their faces, that they do wear markings for the agencies that they work with. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you that the masked men are not from Los Angeles. And so how their families could be retaliated against. And then what is that to say?
She's basically saying, don't worry, they only posted their addresses online. It's not like the internet works in other states. Illegal immigrants get free hotel rooms. ICE agents get a doxing and a reminder to update their will. A primary school in the UK used Elliot Page as an example of healthy masculinity. Elliot Page is an actor that medically transitioned and now identifies as a man. Good news, boys. If you want to be masculine, all it takes is a scalpel and a prescription. The school also used Harry Styles as an example of masculinity. How was Harry Styles feeling right now that he was grouped with Elliot Page as an example of masculinity? Somewhere Harry just checked his pants to make sure everything's still there. And his agent's frantically calling him, "We need to book you on a monster truck rally immediately." I guess the school's next lesson on femininity will feature RuPaul and Caitlyn Jenner. CBS is claiming that Stephen Colbert's show was canceled because of financial losses, not because of his politics. Turns out the only thing Colbert was resisting was profitability. Reports are that his show is losing between $40 and $50 million a year. A person with direct knowledge of the decision said that Colbert had an increasingly dire shortage of advertisers. Apparently, even advertisers got tired of paying premium rates to reach an audience of 12 Prius owners and a therapy dog. Senator Elizabeth Warren said this on X. CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS's parent company, Paramount, for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like bribery. America deserves to know if his show is canceled for political reasons. Now don't be too harsh on Warren. She's trying to explain capitalism with the economic knowledge of a gender studies major. An ad data firm estimated that CBS's late-night shows together drew $220 million in ad revenue in 2024, which is half of what they drew in 2018. In the end, it wasn't politics that got Colbert canceled. It was basic math. Ellen DeGeneres has officially confirmed that she left the United States because of President Trump. So really, Trump did make America great again. In a BBC interview, Ellen also said, "It's clean. Everything here in the United Kingdom is just better. The way animals are treated, People are polite. Ellen says that everything is better in the UK. The animals, the people, the politeness, and the fact that no one there remembers her workplace scandal. Ellen also hinted that she might return to show business by saying this: "I just don't know what this is yet. I want to have fun. I want to do something. I do like my chickens, but I'm a little bored." Ellen wants to have fun again. Hopefully, this time without HR getting involved. And now to the comment section. Okay, the first video that we're going to take a comment from is the video that we did and the segment that we did on Stephen Colbert getting canceled, which was really sad for everyone. So there were a lot of comments on that. There were some comments that just kind of made me laugh, so I wanted to share a few of these. This is from Mr. Ross. How bad do you have to be for Jimmy Kimmel to remain on the air while you get fired? That's so good. Anyway, well done. I thought that was great. The next one is from ThrowAG4960, talking about Colbert. His next podcast will be loved by dozens. Anyway, those were just fun. Okay, so to the question, and a lot of people were asking this because the article and in the video, we said that they're going to cancel his show as of May 2026. So a lot of people were asking, why not now? Here, this is from Marlin, 3043, should be canceled immediately. From KAH, 5371, wish they were canceling it now. And another one from Smedley Dog 1, why are they waiting so long? Aren't there enough reruns of Gilligan's Island to show until they work up a replacement program? So we did look into this a little bit more, and it looks like his contract does end in May of 2026, which is probably why that's when he's officially ending. I'm guessing if they were to cut his show out right now, there probably would be some kind of amount they're having to buy him out, and it might, I don't know if it would be more expensive, but this is the answer from Deadline about that we think his contract actually ended at that same time. Okay, from Deadline, the shock move coincides with Colbert's contract coming up at the end of 2026, with Jon Stewart having signed another deal to remain as one of the hosts of The Daily Show on Paramount-owned sister network Comedy Central until the end of 2025. Could Colbert take the reins of that other storied late-night franchise? Oh, please. I hope not. We all hope not. Not that Jon Stewart is great either, but anyway. So I think that's why they're letting him go until May of 2026. Okay, so the next video where we took a question from was the video and story that we did about how the federal government terminated this high-speed rail debacle with California, where they just the cost was ballooning out of control. And a lot of people were asking, what about the $7 billion that California had spent so far? This is from Chris Menser. If no track was laid for the train, what was the $7 billion actually spent on? These are questions that are also similar. Oval, oh wow. QQKED. So where did the $7 billion go? Who got paid and for what? Luke Krause. This is a clear case of embezzlement. They need to track that money and find out where it went. And then another one, DJEHUTI. So where is the $7 billion? Okay. So we actually did a little bit of digging. And just to refresh your memory, this is actually a quote from one of the articles we looked at. It says that they blew through nearly $7 billion in taxpayer funds over a decade and a half without laying a single foot of track, according to the Department of Transportation. Which also noted that which notes the projected cost of the project has since risen to $135 billion. Anyway, so what happened to the $7 billion? Now, I did a bit of research. This wasn't exhaustive, but I did a little bit of research trying to find the answer. And I will tell you, it wasn't easy to find out where this money was going. And I'm thinking it's because they probably have a lot of it where they don't know where it went. I did find at least a couple of answers. So, and this is from this California state government website about federal grants. And this had one paragraph in it that said, the authority received approximately $3.5 billion in federal funding commitments to complete environmental review for the Phase 1 system and to construct the 119-mile Central Valley segment between Madera and Poplar Avenue. So, and from the research that I was looking at, it looked like other people were also agreeing that about $3.5 billion has gone to some environmental review stuff, which is perfect because this is California, so I would hope that it's all being spent on climate change, environmental stuff. So that was part of what I could find. And then the other piece looked like, and honestly, I found a comment in Reddit, not that Reddit is the gospel because it's not, but they cited another article with several tables of numbers and budgets, and other people had agreed and other people were also citing this too. So I'm not saying it's the gospel, but it might be at least close. They were saying that based on the data from these tables, that it looked like they spent $1.7 billion on land cost. So those two, $3.5 billion and $1.7 billion, that gives us about $5.2 billion. So we still have, a few billion left, and I could not find the answer on what the other billions had been spent on. I did look at a lot of things, and I could not see any definitive answers. And my guess is probably that the state of California may not know exactly, because do you guys remember from a while back when it came out that I think California spent, was it $24 billion to solve homeless problems, but they weren't tracking anything? So they didn't really know if anything was effective because they weren't really accurately tracking where they were spending it and where it was going. Just, on par for California. I bet you part of that is going on with a lot of that $7 billion too. They're trying to figure out where it went, and they probably have no idea. I could be wrong, but anyway, I did a bit of research. These are the only numbers I could find. So again, thank you for all of your comments and questions. Please continue to put those in, and we will look those over and try to pick out a few and cover them in our videos. Thanks for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.